Greetings and welcome to the latest edition of Caring About Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Each week, I sit down with Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville and we discuss all aspects of senior living. Today, I'm joined by the president of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, Mr. David Stieglitz. And our guest today is Mr. Bill Green from the Green Insurance Agency. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
It's been a year since you've been in.
It has.
And a lot of things have changed, but tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the industry and what brought you into the industry.
Okay. About a month shy of 8 years, and a good friend of mine showed me how we can help people with it. Kind of made sense to me because both my parents went Medicare many years ago. My mom about 9. No one really sat down and explained this is what it is how it works. About a year in, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, so right when I started in the industry. She caught it really early though, so she's fine. But no one explained all of her options to her to give her a cheap cancer plan to go with it or a little more coverage. So she had some pretty hefty out-of-pocket bills that no one really explained well to her how to cover those. And I want to be able to help people understand what's available, what's out there, and protect themselves from that kind of stuff.
So what are your primary lines of insurance?
Well, I primarily focus on Medicare as well as health insurance. Then there's lots of things that go with that. So there are accident plans, hospital plans, dental, disability. We also write life insurance. It's not something we're actively looking for, but it's something that's needed as part of the plan.
Long-term care.
Definitely long-term care. People usually don't want to talk about long-term care. It is absolutely needed though. The old traditional long-term care insurance policies are kind of going away. There's some really good older ones and some that weren't designed that well. They're really moving more towards either an asset-based long-term care, or kind of the new one is actually a function of life insurance, where either your family's going to get some money when you pass, or you're going to get all the long-term care benefit. So it's something that's fairly new, and it's no longer of, hey, I paid all this money, I didn't use my long-term care. It's, I'm either going to get the care I need, or my family's going to have a legacy when I pass.
So is this like life insurance with a rider for long-term care?
Exactly.
Ah, so if you don't go into long-term care, then you've got this nice life insurance policy.
They're not small policies. We don't have to do them that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. Now you're here to discuss a book that you wrote.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about it then?
Absolutely. A colleague of mine and we worked on the book together, and I get asked the same questions over and over when it comes to Medicare. So we thought, you know what, let's put some pen to paper and get those questions down on paper so I can give it to someone before I meet with them. They can request it either through a website, or I've got a text-in number that they can get a copy of the book before we even meet, so they'll be more educated and know what questions they need to ask.
I mean, Medicare is incredibly complicated. So how long is this book? Is it sort of, it looks thin and small, but in fact...
It's fairly thin. It's 74 pages.
Okay.
Large print though, so easy to read.
Well, that's one thing, isn't it? Because obviously people getting older are the ones that are going to need this, and they want to be able to read it.
So with Medicare changing so much each year, are you going to have to update it every year, or
Not
have you
really.
kind of got the core of it that it's pretty stable?
This is the core. It's got, the first half of the book is Medicare and its parts, which are not going to change a whole lot year for year. Be little things like your dollar amounts for hospital stay, your deductible, whatnot, those will change. And then the second half are how to avoid 7 costly mistakes when it comes to Medicare. And those are things that those aren't going to change either. It's about penalties and not enrolling at the right time or enrolling in the wrong plans and what can happen.
I mean, we're talking about Medicare, but are there any other topics in there?
Yes, so no matter what plan you pick with Medicare, there's going to be some level of hole to it, whether it's some higher copays, more exposure for cancer, whatnot, or if you pick a more all-inclusive plan, Medicare unfortunately doesn't care about your eyes, your ears, your teeth. They'll cover you if it's a medical thing, like if you have glaucoma or cataracts, they'll take care of that. If you have an infection in your mouth or you need reconstructive surgery after an accident or something, they'll take care of that. And ears, if you have an imbalance, because that's where your balance is, if you're falling because of that, they'll help you. But they're not going to give you glasses. They won't help with crowns, fillings, dentures, and they won't give you hearing aids. So that is something that is not part of Medicare, but there's ways we can cover those either as part of an all-inclusive plan or on top of.
I mean, it's pretty mean, really, isn't it? Because you do need to see, you do need to hear.
Absolutely, it doesn't make sense.
You need your teeth. I
You
mean,
do. So, I mean, Medicare's idea is they'll take care of your health and your body so you can stay alive. But you're right. If you can't see where you're going, you're likely to get hurt. If you can't eat, you'll become malnourished. So they should cover it at some level. There are talks of making it happen. But if that happens or how it happens is yet to be seen.
golly gee. I mean, and half of that is really preventative too.
Oh, it is.
So I mean, it would be better if they said, you know, let's try and prevent it, so that when we actually get to the end result, there's less people that we're having to pay out for.
And
Doesn't that make sense?
It's a government program, Adrienne. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
So it really
Well, there you go.
it does make sense. They should do it at some level because mouth disease is actually linked to many of the diseases that happen in the body.
Yes.
Right. So who is this book actually designed for then? Is it designed for people who are younger so that they know what's going to be happening in the future, or?
It's designed for a few different people. One are those who are just going on Medicare for the first time, who need help figuring out how Medicare works and what it's going to cover. For people who have been on for a while and need to understand just how it works. Maybe they didn't get the best explanation when they started. They either signed up online or somebody came in and 5 or 10 minutes later they had a plan and that was it. And then also I'm having more and more people come in with their adult children to help them understand what's going on and help them make the right decision going forward.
So actually, the adult children are the ones that are really going to benefit from this, not only for their parents, but also for themselves for the future. Just getting a little taste of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned so much from Dave and from Al over the last year about what happens when you get older and what you need to be doing. And I don't know that we can say enough about it. We've got to really keep drumming it home.
Yes.
Start early. Start looking at these things in your 50s. Don't leave it to the last minute. Would you say that is the same about insurance?
Definitely. So we don't just do Medicare, and we do regular health insurance as well. So if someone is currently uninsured and can't see a doctor and they have something going on, depending on the situation, we may be able to help them enroll throughout the year, or we just have them ready to go for open enrollment at the end of the year so that they can have those things looked at and not just put them off until Medicare.
And you'll help them with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So if somebody's looking at this and they say, oh, actually that book sounds like it might be very useful, how do they find the book?
They can go to MedicareAlphabetSoup.com. Just nice and easy.
Yeah.
They can request either a physical book or a digital copy there.
And is it expensive?
No cost.
Oh, you see? A free book. How often do you get that? I mean, Medicare doesn't give you everything, but Bill is providing people who want all this information for free. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to tell the people out there about what's been happening or changes in insurances recently?
Yes. So more on the regular health insurance side of things, the marketplace. That has reopened for anyone who qualifies with 150% or less of the federal poverty limit. For a family of 4, that can be $50,000, $60,000. They can enroll year-round in health insurance. If someone is, whether they're under 65 or over 65 on Medicare, and they need to enroll after losing group coverage, it's something you have a very small time window to do to be able to get it without any health questions.
Wow.
So insurance is all about timing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And does everyone know this?
Not at all. I get the same questions over and over again. That's why we wrote this book about Medicare. And then the health insurance, it's one I plan to work on as well, because I actually get more calls about regular health insurance because, well, there's more people who need it.
You call it alphabet soup. I mean, because it's covering I guess a lot of information. What do you think is the most valuable piece of information in that book that people will take away?
Well, first, before that, the alphabet soup. The reason it's the alphabet soup in Medicare is because when it comes to Medicare, you have your initial A and B, and you have to decide whether you want to use an A, B, C, D, F, G, or N with it, plus a D, or you can do Part C. So it is really just a bunch of letters. You have to pick the ones that are right for you. Yeah.
Hence the alphabet
Hence the
soup.
alphabet.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's no one just golden nugget in there. This is the basics. It'll save you hours of trying to read the Medicare New Book. That when I'm ready for a nap, that's what I read because it's that interesting, even for me. So it'll save you hours of trying to read that book, of watching YouTube videos. This is just the nuts and bolts. It's maybe an hour read max.
What are the most common mistakes people make as they're approaching 65 or turning 65 regarding Medicare?
I talk to a lot of people who get fed up with all the phone calls and mail, people knocking on their doors, Facebook ads, and they, one, will either just go and pick something themselves, or they do nothing. The do nothing folks are a lot of times people who are healthy, and the problem with doing nothing is you will end up with lifetime penalties. If you don't enroll when you're first eligible, Part B, you'll have a 10% penalty on your prescription side of things. You can have a 12% per year penalty for every year you went without having a plan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so that's how it goes.
Definitely at 65, you've got to do something.
Yeah.
Yes, and then there's a whole other crowd of folks who are on Medicare that aren't really marketed to, so they don't have all the same information that's just being thrown at them. And those are people who are on Social Security disability. So if the Social Security Administration says you're disabled, you can no longer work, you can't work in your profession or something similar, and you're put on Social Security disability, 24 months from your start date, you're automatically enrolled in Medicare. And it's something that, again, they're not getting bombarded with all this stuff to pick from. They have to go out and do their own research.
Right. And that's where you come in.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Bill. It's been an
Absolutely.
absolute pleasure to
Thank
find
you.
out more. And thank you for doing this. I know it's helping a lot of people. It's good to see you again, Dave.
Good to see you.
Now, I'm going to read this because I don't want to get it wrong. So if you want a copy of the book, you can get it from medicarealphabetsoup.com or text the word book to 904 747 6711. This has been Caring About Seniors. I'm your host, Adrienne Houghton. Thank you for watching.